People deluded. It's something of nothing really. It's more than just. In fact, it's nothing more than just my own humour. Obviously, we know Edu's become the new technical director of Arsenal. He's a former player, and obviously he knows the club, and obviously that's needed. You know the club, you know the history, you know what it means to fans. He's been in the environment as a player. Granted, it wasn't the same landscape because of social media and just how Arsenal was as a football club at the time. It's completely different to when Edu was playing at Highbury to now, obviously, technical director at the Emirates. But some of them skills he's learned just by being a player will send him some very good lessons, as he will be tested at times in this role. Right now, I'd describe it as the honeymoon period. It's not the honeymoon period because Edu is a smart and intelligent man. He knows the role. He's obviously an Arsenal. I'd like to think he was an Arsenal fan before he joined again, and he paid attention. So he knew the task at hand. He knew the role he was stepping in. So he knew the role and the task at hand, the energy, the precision, all of these things needed to do his role, and all the other like duties that he has to fulfill as part of his role that us fans don't know or don't always think about. So he knew the role was at hand. He knew he had to be part of something to try and help us move forward. And I'm happy to see him. I'm happy he's at the club. It's nothing more than just humouring myself. But I saw, was it the Guardian? Forgive me, I don't know the journalist's name, but they done a little piece on Edu, and I took some snippets, people, really and truly, kind of copied it. Didn't copy and paste it in order, but just thought I'd offer my little thoughts on a couple of them, because obviously Edu's coming into the position. I just want to see, like, try and get some insight into allegedly what he's like, what he's done well, what he hasn't done well. Could he have done certain things better, and all of these sort of things, because obviously he's still learning. Obviously he's an experienced footballer, but in terms of the career world, the corporate world, he is very young, people. Let's see how Edu actually is. If you remove him from working at Arsenal and you say he's working in the city, I don't know, like a stockbroker in that, let's say, how old is Edu, people? He can't be, he's in his 40s, surely like 45 or something. 41, people. That's what I'm saying. He's young, you get it, people. So in the corporate world, he is an extremely young man. So there's obviously a lot. With that being said, we do know the older folk. I've seen it. It feels that way to me. The older folk kind of be condescending at times. So he might experience that. He's obviously he's 41 and he hasn't been doing this role forever. He's obviously gained a lot of experience. But there's also the element of you don't know what you don't know. Now you think Raul, a couple years older than him, be kind to Raul and that, and to be nice to him, can kind of make up for these sort of things and add a bit of street smartness to that sort of. Apologies, people. Don't know what happened there, but you'd like to think Raul can make up the deficit and add a bit of and apply a bit of street smartness, where it will be missing. Do you get it, people? Yeah, I know you understand where I'm at. So let's carry on, man, because it does. I wouldn't say it's because at the end of the day you'll never know, but I do feel it gave me something to take away. So I'll start with what I highlighted as green. I don't know why I highlighted green. I assume that what I took as good when it was in my lunch break. But carrying on, people, in fact, starting. When he took over, he was very clear, recalls Xiao, I can't say his name, the club's former defender and captain. He said that he was a director, but he remained a friend to the players, and that he would work hard to bring peace to our team. We couldn't bring these problems on the pitch. He promised, and he did it. So first and foremost, I like the element is that he's never forgot how he was a player, he was in their shoes, he knows how they feel. Obviously, he's not the coach, but he still needs to have good relations with the players because he's technical director. He needs to, obviously right now it's about rebuilding Arsenal, but there's going to be a time if we develop, he's got to know when to move players on, when to bring players in, when someone's probably being too much of a bad egg. Do you get it, people? Because Ferguson was brilliant at that. It didn't matter how good you was as a footballer. If you started to become a bit too big for your boots in certain aspects, you're out of the club. Because player management is one of the most important things in football nowadays. If not, it's never been the most important. I'm sure all the older people twice my age will say it's never been the most important period. So it's important. Again, it doesn't exactly correlate, but he's technical director. He's got to look good for the club. I'm not saying Emre should lose his job, but I would ever want Emre to be in a position he loses his job. But if for instance there's a scenario where he's beginning to lose the players, Edu should be able to find that out real early and either try and resolve that or help to resolve that, or look for other mediums. So it's vital he has one ear to the dressing room and things like that. It's nice as well for the players because they feel included and wanted and all of these sort of things. Obviously Edu and Emre, former manager and player at Valencia, I believe, or wherever it was, they obviously have a good relation. So it's nice to see that Edu's never forgot that, and that's one thing for all his, I don't want to say inexperience because it's not doing him a justice because he's worked for his own nation and that, but for his young years in terms of corporate world, people, that can stand him in good stead. You get it, people. moving on from that, Edu formed a great partnership with the coach Tite. Together they won the Copa Libertadores, Brazilian Championship, Club World Cup, Paulista Championship, and the Recopa. It earned the pair promotion to the national side in 2016, working alongside Silvinho, a former colleague of Edu at Arsenal, carrying on. So I think they did all right, people. Yeah, so you see, they did quite well at club level. I believe Corinthians. They obviously had a good relation with the players there, and they achieved good success. So he's got good experience in that regards. Carrying on, someone called Bachi went on to say, forgive me for mispronunciation, Edu knows how to delegate roles. The first time I worked with him, he asked me to write a report. I did it very well, and from then I earned his trust. We were a team. We had staff to analyse any potential talents for Corinthians. He read the report, studied all the players, and then gave a list to Tite to decide who to sign. Everyone had their input into the decision. So people, that segment could also say, if you look at it, that could offer something to do with Arsenal. That could also show you that he could delegate scouting reports to someone in the coaching staff or scouting teams at Arsenal, get their opinion. It shows that he trusts his people. When he shows you he trusts it shows harmony in that, but it shows that they will collaborate in terms of targets, in terms of collaborating data, potential targets to go for, and they'll have, I assume, a meeting in terms of what will happen. And obviously with Emre being a head coach, Hasfame being in charge of contracts, Raul being in charge of whatever he is, and obviously Vinay the same, and the many different other people, heads of the departments. It's all about collaboration and these sort of things. So it's nice to see that. It's nice to see, like I said, he takes a hands-on approach and he has that personal feel, because as much as I love my club, I can't say I've always seen that. And I don't want to say it makes up for Kroenke, because, and I'm not criticising any of them people there and whatnot, because now's not the time and place for this vid, but for what the fans might say, that the fans might say they never see the owner and all of these sort of things, and he'll have his own question marks and they'll have their own question marks to answer. But I think if fans can see Edu, whether it's good or bad, they see that someone's always watching, it can do well. Of course, that doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but I like to take that away from it, really. And if we look at what I had in red, actually, this report said his time working for Brazil wasn't that successful in terms of the youth teams. In short, it says they underperformed at the South American under-17 and under-20 championships in 2019, despite being full of prospects. Obviously, 2 years ago, they failed to qualify for the World Cup at under-20s level. And apparently, so in terms of restructuring, I don't want to say the article didn't provide context, so I don't know if he was directly the decision maker behind this, but previously the technical scouts, there was 3, it became 1 when he took in charge of that. So maybe that's not being fair to him, because again, I don't know if that was his decision for 1. The second decision is, yeah, he might have took one guy off this to do something, but did he, in terms of saving the budget, did he add in one area and they've excelled in another area? At the end of the day, it doesn't look good based on what that's saying, in that they've failed to qualify for numerous youth competitions, and Brazil's a team with good talents, and we don't need to sit here and name the many Brazilian talents that have ever graced the field and world football. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, we'll be here all day, Ronaldinho. But carrying on, people, it also said for the senior team there was issues as well in regards to the selection for the 2018 World Cup. Apparently there was an issue with choosing our base in shot sheet. Again, we don't know if this is directly correlated to him making them decisions, but it was criticised because in short it was taking too long to get to and from these matches and to do the logistics sort of things, people. Apparently we clocked up 3 times as more sort of mileage and stuff, clocked up significantly. What's going on there? Sorry, people, my attention got thingy. My phone's bugging out. But apparently, in terms of moving around and all distance covered, it was 3 times Argentina. So that could, obviously, when you're travelling and all the rehabilitation and all these finer margins in football, it doesn't really sound good. Apparently, he was criticised for pandering to Neymar. Widely. Again, I'm not Brazilian. I don't know what the Brazilian media was saying at the time, or if it's true. This is just what the report has said. And it will be tricky. Obviously, Arsenal don't have star players of such and egos of such. In an ideal world, we'd love to have the Neymars and stuff, but that might be something that he needs to adopt into himself personally. Because obviously he's at Arsenal for now, but I'm sure he's got ambition. Let's be honest, people. I'm sure he's got ambitions. I'm sure he wants Arsenal to win Premier League, and hopefully he wants to be here for the rest of his career. But does he want to go back to Brazil? If Barcelona were to come, say, be technical director, I'm just making stuff up at this point. Or PSG, for example, something. Would he say no? You never know opportunities. So that's something he could look to gain experience in, how he deals with these sort of players and stuff. Gilberto apparently says he's got similarities with Wenger in that he doesn't like to rush to decisions and he likes to be quite calculated. That could obviously be a gift and a curse for the many different reasons, but it's nice to see. Again, in terms of what he's allegedly done bad and all them things, I'm not Brazilian, I'm not clued up in terms of the technical structure and all of them things to really comment on that sort of stuff. I was just really offering my opinions in regards to what we can expect, and what I got from that is he's very hands-on, quite calm in terms of decision making, very good and collaborative. He's a harmonic guy, if that's even a word. Seeks a lot of harmony in that. He doesn't look to create conflict. Seems like an individual that, if he doesn't necessarily take your advice, he makes you feel like you're part of the team, like you didn't do that. I'm sure we've all been in jobs where you've done a whole heap of work or whatever, and people have told you you're involved in stuff, but you don't necessarily feel it, you're appreciated, and you don't feel part of it. Like, you're there, you're seeing the fruits of your labour, but you're not necessarily part of it. I know a lot of you have been through that, as I've had myself. So that's what I've seen, man. And in short, I'd hopefully he gets it right. Hopefully he can do his thing for Arsenal and whatnot. But for now, I thought, let me just offer that, and I'm going to get out of here. On that note, people, like I said, I'm going to get out of here. Deluded.